This episode of the Dash-cast is brought to you by Q Delicia, the Mexican-American sports bar you never knew you needed.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this next episode of the Dashcast. My name is Curtis Ash, who could not figure that out, and joined with me, as always, is the man among men, the legend of legends. I have Brandon Colongo. Brandon, say hello.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching.
Hey, we appreciate you guys tuning in, and I am to blame for our couple weeks absence. I've got a shoddy foot, and it gives me a lot of reasons to complain about a lot of stuff. And speaking of complaining, so not only did we not draft a wide receiver in Green Bay or anything to help Aaron Rodgers, we actually signed Devin Funchess, which is all fun and games, right? I mean, it's Devin Funchess, right? He was good a couple of years ago. Everything's great. Of course, he opts out. So not only do we not have the highly touted Devin Funchess, and by highly touted I mean I did not think that was a highly touted pick, but hey, what do I know? So we don't have Devin Funchess going right now, and I've noticed a lot of players are opting out, and I say a lot, but it's not really a lot in the grand scheme of things. Brandon, I have something to throw at you when it comes to the Patriots. We kind of talked about this just a second ago, but how are you feeling about what? It's 9 players that have opted out, something like that. Nine,
Yeah,
eight
yeah,
for the
the
Pats.
players are finally revolting. They lose Tom Brady for one season,
Ugh.
and now they can't even field a roster.
Mm,
This is a testament to Bill Belichick's
no,
coaching,
no,
and I think that the
no.
leadership that's now gone. So they have to play through a pandemic and they have to play with Belichick. So it's like, double trouble. Maybe they could do just the pandemic or just, Bill Belichick, but both? That's a tall order.
I don't know, man. I don't look at it that way. Like, joking aside, obviously, from what I have heard, obviously through like eighth party sources, not even third party sources, but like, a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend who knows a friend of a friend, that kind of stuff. Like, Belichick's not that fun to play for, blah, 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 so on and so forth. I get that completely. But there is no way it has anything to do with Belichick that these guys are opting out. This is about the cap. I would be more inclined to think that Belichick asked these guys to opt out so they can open
No
about
way.
20 million. Are you telling me that's not a Belichick move?
No. This is what happened. I'll tell you right now. These these are the players that are financially sound enough and that are also afraid of this virus for various reasons, whether it's like pre-existing conditions, new kids, like whatever the case is. But you pair that, they were smart with their money. I'm sure they don't have like any debt or any payments. You know what I mean? It's real easy for them to say, okay, well, we can live off 300K for a year while we get a vaccine or whatever the heck
Right.
they're going to make. So this just is because I'm sure there'd be more players. I'm sure some players are playing because they need the money, and then but as a whole, I think these guys are ready to play. Most of them are not going to be, opting out of playing the season.
I
So
would agree. I would agree. I would say that the majority of your players probably, or players in general, would like
I'm
to
good if
play.
I'm good. I'm ready to play my flag football season. Let's go. I heard you can't get it outside, but I'm not a doctor.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing isn't Gillette technically an outside stadium? Like that's not
Yeah,
a dome.
just take the top off. It's all good.
You talking about Dallas out there taking the top off, or
Yeah,
Arizona, for example, taking the top. Well, and there are a couple. Speaking of Arizona, I'm glad that transition kind of worked because you had sent me something previously, and you kind of wanted to talk about the Minshew, Murray, and Jones kind of class. What was that? The 2018, 2019 class? Um,
yeah. These are rookies.
yeah, the 2019 draft class there, and the numbers. If you're just looking statistically, how is Gardner Minshew not the best of the three? Like I want you to
Stats
play
are
devil's
overrated.
advocate. Yeah, obviously go for it, go for it.
So stats are overrated. Kyler Murray is obviously the best. Nothing actually against Minshew, when I looked at those stats again, I had to do a double take because I was surprised to see
100%.
maybe we can divulge the actual specifics there. You got it on your notes,
Yeah,
but
I've got it up right now. So it's like 21 TDs to 6 INTs for Gardner Minshew, 233.6 yards per game. He's got 3 fourth quarter comebacks.
yeah,
Um,
those are all great stats. So here's the thing. Yeah, obviously Minshew's number 2 on the list. I don't get the Daniel Jones hype.
I
I never
agree.
have. I'm surprised that the Giants really think they have their guy. And same thing with the Redskins. Like, not into the Haskins, or actually them who don't have a name.
Yeah. What? Well, okay. So while we're on this subject, just for a second, what in the fuck is going on with Washington? I try to keep the swearing to somewhat of a minimum for anybody who is listening to
For a
us that
younger
doesn't want to
audience,
hear
please.
me swear. But like at the same time, what is going on in Washington? You know the shit show, for lack of a better term there. Um, how deep it was. What is going on in Washington? Like, I none of their quarterbacks are good, except the guy who literally broke his leg in like 30,000 places.
And I
Um,
love to root for Alex Smith. Love good
yeah,
Alex Smith story.
I would love Alex Smith to come in and take that job and take them to the playoffs. I
Oh my God! Instead of the Cowboys,
100%. Imagine if the Washington football team, as they're calling themselves, um,
wait,
like what's that?
wow,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, the
For now, that's
Washington
so
football
funny.
team, the
Let's just
Washington
take a
football
minute
team.
on that.
Moment of silence for the idiots that are getting paid 7 times what I'm gonna make. Like what? And
You
the
had
fact
one
that they made
job.
a press release for that. That's what bothers the hell out of me about that.
Yeah, they had
But
one
like,
job. And
are
new
you
name.
taking Alex Smith? You think over Daniel Jones? And I know that's kind of a
Easily.
weird thing to ask. Like
Easily.
easily, like so. What is it about Daniel Jones? Do you think is it the eye test
He's just
maybe?
never jumped off the screen. Yeah, yeah, it's eye test. And also, remind me where he went to school. Was it Duke?
Yes.
I'm not like what's there. It's not like their program has any particular hype. It's not like what has their program done.
Okay, Duke wasn't bad in football last year. All
But
right,
wasn't bad isn't what I want to
two
have
years ago.
my NFL team centered around. Quarterback is just
True.
too important of a position. You got to hit.
Yeah. Okay. And
And that's the
speaking of,
only reason why I'm not sold on Minshew, because if we had more W's, I'd be all on board. But those stats to me say that, sometimes you can pad stats at the end in like little ways where like
garbage time.
defense is in prevent because they're up by 3 scores. You can easily sneak in a couple screen passes, pick up, 15-yard gain, 20-yard gain.
I think the 21 TDs to 6 INTs from Minshew
Yes, good.
is an amazing
I'm not
statistic,
disputing that.
and here is why. You've got Kyler Murray at 20 TDs to 12 INTs. Daniel Jones 24 TDs to 12 INTs. Uh, what what's amazing to me is I have a quarterback in Aaron Rodgers who has he threw 6 picks in 2 seasons. Um, so when you got a guy like Minshew who's throwing 6 picks, now granted he didn't start every game or whatever excuse you want to throw out there. I mean, there's a lot to bury the argument I'm about to make, but statistically, averaging more yards per game, averaging mid-range TDs for the group, and half the INTs. As long
Mm-hmm.
as you're not turning the
That's what I
ball
like.
over, like that's what makes it to me. It's the turnovers for sure. Like
It's big. Yeah, it's those are great stats. Like I said, I'm not fronting on the stats, and I'm happy when I see good Jags news. Like if Minshew is the guy and he's the next Brady, by all means, I'm so happy to be wrong on that. And I'm really quick to jump on a good bandwagon. I know when it's the right time.
I mean, obviously you're definitely a bandwagon guy. You like the Bucks now, so I'm kidding.
Well,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. You're a
I
Florida
just
guy to begin with.
yeah,
To your
exactly.
credit.
Yeah,
Before
it
I
worked
get
out perfectly.
buried.
Like when LeBron came to my Heat and I was
Mm.
loving life.
God, that see, that's a thing that's underrated. I think is when you are, even if you are a good team and you get a badass free agent that joins you, man, life just changes. I know we talked about that before with like, oh, when Jacksonville was in the playoffs and they were really
Hmm.
good, and how the city explored that and loved it, and so on and so forth. It's just amazing to me, like when you get a big name free agent. So when Malik Jackson, this is a little bit of a tangent, not tangent, but more of a story. When Malik Jackson actually signed in Jacksonville, or to the Jags, he for people that are listening to us in Jacksonville, he had actually lived right above the wine bar in Jack's Beach. Had a giant condo. He bought all that stuff out. So it was crazy to see him actually going to Spencer and Patrick's comedy show back in the day. And when you have a big name free agent like that, a guy who's getting paid $57 million because he signed his fracking name, that's just crazy to me. When you have it's amazing what it can do for a city. I think
Yeah, I mean,
Tom Brady
it's
is
always
probably the
nice.
better example.
I mean, well, he's just like the bigger example, just on account of the him being the goat and all.
I mean, unfortunate, man, unfortunate. So with those three guys, obviously, I think we're both in and like Daniel Jones can just dip. I mean, 18 fumbles led the
I just
NFL.
don't see him lasting for that long, and he could be a good backup one day.
Okay, so the
That
question
sounds so
there.
terrible, though.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
That's like such a backhanded like compliment. I feel like.
I mean, it is,
Don't take
but
that the
you're
wrong
not
way
wrong.
if you're listening.
Like, well, if here's the thing about Daniel Jones, like, would you take Rosen over Daniel Jones hypothetically? Because obviously the Dolphins probably
Nah,
don't
I'll pass on both of them unless they're like a backup or something.
really.
At which case, I would
No,
take either
you
of
need
them.
to
They're
choose
interchangeable.
one. You
I
need to
could care
choose
less.
one as your starter. Stop! Don't dip out of the conference. You gotta
As a
choose one.
starter,
Yes.
there has to be another option.
No.
Minshew.
Minshew's on another team. You can have Daniel Jones, who is, yeah, he's under contract for your team, or you could take Rosen, who
I
obviously
would
the
take
Dolphins
Daniel
don't want.
Jones. I've seen enough bad Rosen that I'm out.
Oh, you
So
know
I
what?
guess I would take. I haven't seen enough bad Daniel Jones yet, but
Well,
I'm sure I will. Give me another season.
oof, oof. Here's the thing about the Daniel Jones thing that bothers me just a hair. He has Saquon Bart. Well, actually, I don't think he had Barkley last year, did he? Was Barkley out
Are,
all of last year?
are you talking about in terms of like productivity?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I feel like obviously having a good running game opens up the passing game and play action. I mean, anybody who is listening to this obviously knows that shit. But I don't understand how he's not better with
He
that.
played. He played 13 games in 2019. Only
So,
6 touchdowns.
ooh, I mean,
But I like I said, touchdowns is an overrated stat. 4.6 yards a carry, yards an
ooh,
attempt,
yeah. I mean, that's
200 rushes, 1,000 yards. That's a good season.
well. I mean, you would always assume 1,000 yards is pretty much your
But those aren't like Zeke numbers or even I don't
or
even like
Aaron
that.
Jones. Excuse me. All right, don't hate.
I think Jones is I don't know. I feel like whenever I
I
watch
will.
them head to head, Jones plays better than Zeke.
He does. Thank you. I was about to reach through the microphone and smack you. I swear to God. No.
No, I'm
It,
not that impressed by Zeke honestly. This past year, he like I don't know. I guess maybe that's because of the holdout. He never quite got into playing last year. Maybe at the best he was like distracted. I think. So maybe this year he'll come out of his he'll look like old Zeke.
I would expect a 1,200 yard season from Zeke. Personally, I don't get me wrong. I hate like if I had an emotion that is so strongly attributed to me, it would be hate. I fucking hate the Cowboys, but I really do think Zeke's gonna have a great season.
You hate a lot of teams though.
Well, hatred is a full-time job. I don't know what else to do about it. We're gonna move on from the NFL because I'm about to start complaining about Green Bay. And also,
Yeah,
why
we
haven't we
almost
signed a
started talking
receiver?
about basketball when I brought up LeBron.
Oh my God, you're right.
Are we gonna do this now?
Yeah, I think we got to go there. All right, so let's talk about the NBA for a little bit. Um, Brandon and I were talking about a lot of our predictions, or not predictions more or less, but like thoughts on the NBA season and players, just very briefly. And it's just a little weird to me how I think we kind of agree on Kawhi Leonard.
In what way?
I felt like I felt like what we said before when it came to Kawhi was he isn't the closer that a lot of teams are. He isn't the closer that the late great Kobe Bryant, rest his soul, is or was, or Jordan or anything like that, or even, I mean, there are a couple of other players I won't name, but I kind of agree. And at first, I was like, oh, there's no way. Like, I was thinking in my head, there's no way. And then I remember the only reason the Raptors even made it as far as they made it is because the luckiest bounce of all time from Kawhi
Mm-hmm.
Leonard's shoot. Like, I'm starting to, I'm kind of moving your way. But how do you feel about the NBA? How do you feel about LeBron? And what are your thoughts on Kawhi and the Clips?
I don't know. I should have known before the season when I bet on LeBron that I wasn't going to have full confidence in LeBron. But I figure my stepbrother and my stepdad are pretty much, they're both big Laker fans, and so I thought to myself, hey, the Lakers. I did call that LeBron was going to go to LA like 3 years ago. I don't know how I knew it. I had an epiphany one day. I just assumed that it was going to happen, and it just sure enough did.
I mean, yeah, good call.
You can look back and I called it. Anyways, I was in the process of calling them winning the championship this year against Milwaukee, and I did that before the season. And then all of a sudden, I watched them play the Clippers on opening night. And then I watched basketball come back, and I watched them play the Clippers again and barely beat them. And I don't know. I genuinely think now, if you're gonna make me make my prediction now,
I am.
I think
Absolutely.
the Clippers are winning. I think the Clippers are beating Milwaukee.
I mean, can you argue about the Clippers? Like, really? Can you argue against them? I would say,
Yeah,
like,
I would say there's a couple things like you said. I don't feel like Kawhi is quite the closer. I do give him a slight edge over LeBron, just
he's the
barely.
best defender in the
But
league, though. That's the thing about Kawhi. I don't need you to close out. I just need you to guard the guy who's trying to.
exactly, like I look at Lou Williams to me to be the best closer on that court, in my
Wow.
opinion, which is pretty terrible on
He's
LeBron's
the
part. And
sixth
LeBron did
man.
get lucky in this game. Now I will give LeBron credit because he finally took it to the hole and said, you know what, if you're going to foul me this final, hit these late game free throws and go to the hole when it makes something happen. He's the best driver to ever play, and I give him credit. He did go out there and take a very bad missed shot that didn't even make it over the rim.
Not
but
even close.
Luckily, the Clippers didn't box out, and he shot it under the rim, so it came right back to him.
Yeah, he got
and
his
then he
own
laid it in.
rebound and laid it in.
He laid it in. So, hey, not clutch, but then he was in the right place at the right time, and that's clutch at the end of the day. So, clutch enough. So LeBron got a little lucky there. Kawhi got plenty lucky too with his bounce. We don't even have to really talk about that with the Sixers. Oh my gosh.
100% luck. All right, we're definitely gonna hash this out. I think you and I are in the same boat here. But for anybody listening,
Now,
who's not,
a closer that I will say, who we've all forgotten about, but he's about to come back with Kyrie, who is also a closer. When KD and Kyrie come back,
that's not gonna
all
be this
bets
season
are off.
though.
All bets are off next season.
All right, so you're telling me, I guess we're jumping ahead a little
KD's the
bit,
best
but
player in basketball right now, is what I'm telling you. Yes.
No.
Yes.
I love Kevin
Followed by
Durant.
Kawhi.
I'm exactly 1 month older than Kevin
Followed
Durant.
by LeBron.
I know exactly what Kevin Durant benched in his combine. I know Kevin Durant so well.
Unimportant.
But that being said, no. I love Kevin Durant, but you gotta be healthy to close games, bruh. And he's not healthy to close
This was
those
a
games.
one-time freak accident.
Was it?
Yeah.
Because if he comes back and gets hurt in about 12 games, I'm gonna reach through this microphone in the future and just
That
strangle
happens. I mean,
myself. Well,
sometimes,
actually, I'll be.
sometimes a freak accident's a freak accident. Sometimes
I'll
it
just
is
march
what
into
it
your
is.
room and then complain. That's exactly what's gonna happen.
Well, hey,
But-
maybe we'll put some sushi bets on it.
no, I mean Kevin Durant's
Even though
one of
I
my
did
favorite
see
players.
your status that
I
apparently
hate
you're
sushi.
cool if you don't.
I
I got
hate.
so
That's not
excited.
fair.
I got so excited. I was like, undisputed. They bet Diet Mountain Dew. I don't drink diet soda. I don't drink soda really at all. I was like, but you know what I do love? $5 Public sushi.
See, I'm not a sushi guy, and I know this is a sports
They're
podcast,
going to sponsor
but
this
like,
podcast. They don't know it yet, but we're speaking that into existence, just so you know.
I just, it's not that I hate sushi. I know I was being sarcastic about it before. It's not that I hate sushi. It's just that I could go the rest of my life without having it and be just fine. Like, hey,
I need sushi. My whole Wednesday is planned around me going to $5 Public sushi. And I put that good soy sauce on it. I put the red stuff, extra sodium. That's what I like.
Oh my
And
god,
some
you have to
wasabi,
have soy
mix it
sauce
up.
on it though. Like,
The high sodium one too.
I mean, is there any
Anyways.
low sodium soy sauce?
Get me
isn't
started on
even
my
real.
sushi.
All right.
Anyways, we're gonna come up with something really good to bet for when we have this ridiculous.
I mean, we got to go week
disagreements.
to week for NFL too. We'll end up going week to week 100%. There's
You can
actually
get me
something,
sushi and come up with something I should get you.
therapy. But there's there's actually something about LeBron that I kind of wanted to shoot at you here, and
Okay.
he I think it was on Twitter, man, like a week and a half ago or something like that. And he was it was like something he'd retweeted. It's like, "Oh, the East is easy, like you don't know life until you go through the West." And LeBron had retweeted it and said, "Well, I've heard that for years, blah blah blah." And I'm thinking, "Yeah, you heard it for years because the fucking East has been trash since I was a high schooler." If you want to go like and that's one thing I kind of wanted to bother you about. If LeBron can do what he did in the East, like MVPs and carry a team to the finals and basically destroy people because he's LeBron. If he can do that in the East, or excuse me, the West, he is the best player of all time, I guess. Maybe.
No.
Probably not. But do you understand where I'm coming from?
Nope.
Well, so he was complaining about the East being so easy, or excuse me, people saying the East was so easy, that
Right.
if you ever get a chance to go through the records of the teams at the East, I'm pretty sure a team that is under 500 has made the playoffs for about a decade.
Yeah, but the East has always been about star power. The East has always been about the Heat back when they had the juggernauts. They had the big three, the Shaq and Wade.
See, you're thinking too
Like,
early. You're thinking too. No, you got to go back.
The Celtics.
They're top heavy.
There's that's what happens, but still the first two teams. I mean, here we go again. We're looking at Milwaukee and who won it last year? The East.
Okay, all right. So all right. The East did not win the finals. Kawhi Leonard went no.
No, it was.
Oh my god.
First
dude.
of all, it was Toronto. That was the best team win I've ever seen.
Oh
With the perfect amount of luck.
They wouldn't have even made
They
it
had
if
the
it wasn't
luckiest-
lucky.
Yeah, it was ridiculously lucky.
They're not
For
a
them
good
getting to that
team.
game and then past that game once they actually had more Golden State break down.
Okay, all right. There's a lot of heresy going on here, but you're not wrong either. At the same time. No, I'm very curious as to how do you look at LeBron, East LeBron versus West LeBron. Obviously,
I think
this
West
season
LeBron
one.
is about to realize how hard it is to make it to the championship every year.
I hope so. I mean,
Because I think the Clippers are going. And it's sad because I picked the Lakers. Honestly, if the Lakers win, I'll be happy.
are the Lakers strong enough? You think? Like, not to be that guy, but like,
Yeah, they could win. I wouldn't say they have no shot. I would say they could win.
their bench is just so weak compared to the Clippers, who, by the way, and I think we talked about this a minute ago, were so short-handed.
Hey, but the Clippers, they got to play the Rockets, and it.
Oh,
and
my God, the Rockets. Don't even get me started on James Harden. The guy
I think
travels.
the Rockets
It's
can
a
be
travel.
a really good sleeper team because Westbrook and Harden, I feel like, are the two. if any of those two players could play with another ball dominant
No.
player, it was each other.
No. No.
They've been best friends for like
Since their
ages.
OKC days, and you got to figure. I mean,
Before then, even
they were great when they were. Oh well, yeah. I mean,
I think they
obviously
played
before.
AAU ball together.
And well, no, just no, just there's no. See, I don't have a point, or excuse me, I don't have
I'm just saying it
statistical
just
facts to
takes
prove
like
you
one.
wrong.
It just has. I'm just saying it can just be one random matchup that just messes somebody up. Like the Mavericks
Sure.
one year, like they were the 1 seed right after the Heat had beaten them, I think, in the championship or I can't even remember. But then they came back and lost to like the 8 seed Golden State, who had like I don't even think they didn't even have Steph at
Baron
that time.
Davis,
They had,
my friend. That was a Baron Davis-led Golden State Warriors.
like...
And by the
mean?
way,
So,
that
like,
was fun to watch.
that's what I'm saying is like, especially in the West, like all bets are still kind of off. Like I feel like every series has its own respect to it.
Okay, well, so you'll agree with me then that the Western Conference is the tougher conference.
Overall, yes, but not in terms of like it being top heavy. Like you don't have
Oh my
to
God. No,
like the
what do you
two
mean not even?
because like okay, so Milwaukee, a lot of people are just picking Milwaukee. I still
I'm one
don't
of
see
those
it.
guys.
I honestly, I don't see it, but like a lot of people are picking Milwaukee. So tell me why you're picking them if you just said you're picking them.
Because it's literally because of Giannis. It hasn't. I mean, if Middleton actually plays well, different story. They're. I mean, I think they might be unbeatable. And Bledsoe hasn't been. Well, I say hasn't been healthy, but I think that has like more to do with COVID and all the asterisks that come with that. But yeah, I mean, it's Giannis. I can't bet against that guy. He's freaking huge, dude. I
Yeah,
mean,
but didn't you see him melt down in the playoffs last year?
I did. I did. And that's why I don't think that'll happen again. I the guy can shoot. He's like 7 feet tall and can like elevate for a three with no effort. No, I. It's definitely because of Giannis. Now their bench isn't terrible. I I just have a lot more faith in Giannis than I guess most. I think that's probably like a crutch, but what do you think about that?
I think you're giving Giannis too much credit. I haven't seen anything to really. I mean, obviously, yes, he's put up the great numbers, but like I said, I'm not always impressed by numbers. The numbers don't. I need to see how you. I want to see how mentally tough you are at
It's
the
that
end of
eye
the game.
test.
Yeah, I want to see like how mentally tough you are at the end of the game. And last year, I was very disappointed because I at least wanted the U.S. to still have the championship, but we had to sacrifice. I mean, there's one Canadian team. We had all the U.S. teams that could possibly have won, and we lose to frickin' Canada.
I mean, to be fair, my favorite point guard of all time is Canadian. But to your credit, fucking Canada, all right. Another
So I was a
interesting.
little salty about it. I was a little salty panda,
I
like you
mean,
like to
to
say.
your credit, I mean, it's Canada. I mean, are they even real? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Obviously, kind of. I don't know. I feel like the NBA is just got a lot of stuff going for it, and there are some maybe dark horse isn't the right term here, but there are some teams I would love to see instead of the Lakers or the Bucks. I don't know if you have any in mind, but at the top of my head,
Yeah,
I would love to see
I think
Phoenix.
I would love to see the Heat, obviously, because
Oh,
I'm a
of
Heat
course,
fan.
yeah,
If the Heat
yeah.
won it all, I'd be a very happy man. I just don't ever see. I don't see that. There's no chance that I see that happening. Basically, that's the problem. So I don't feel realistic like hoping for it.
Okay, so well, and
The Sixers, I feel like, are. I think there's random buzzsaws in the East. Like, you got the Heat, the Sixers, and Milwaukee. And I would include Toronto, but I just desperately hope that the U.S. wins. I don't care who it is
I
besides
mean,
Toronto.
literally all of those teams that you mentioned are not better than the top eight in the West. Maybe Milwaukee. I guess.
I think the Heat are.
No, no, no. Yeah, no, no, absolutely not. Like, and here's what bothers me about that the most.
We got the playoffs coming up. We're gonna see.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You're not right. And the Heat were a 4 or 5 seed, four seed is what. Okay,
Yeah, four.
yep, 4 seed. 42 and 25. It's not that they're a bad team, but it does
Team in the
prove my
West.
point that it's a top heavy thing. Like, you got to figure 31 and 35 is the 8 seed. It's 32 and 35. It's only a game off. But then you drop off after after the 8th seed in the East, and it's a 24-win Wizard team, and you got a 32-win Grizzly team. There is no way on this planet that the East is a better conference, and there is no way you can convince me that a team in the East, minus a healthy Kevin Durant, is going to beat anybody in the West.
No, I like the top 6 in the East.
The Bucks, I'm
Philadelphia,
fine with. The Celtics, I'm fine with.
Sixers, Pacers, Heat.
No, you're all right. The
They're all right.
Pacers,
Pacers are all right.
no. The Pacers aren't shit without Oladipo.
And just wait till KD comes back in Brooklyn's
Okay, but I just said
on
minus
top of the
KD.
East.
All right, I said minus KD because I do agree with he's top 3, if not top 1 or top 2, depending on your argument.
I have KD, Kawhi, LeBron, AD.
8. I don't know.
I don't know how I feel about Giannis yet. Well, I haven't put any thought into this.
What?
I just said that. I got a little excited. I don't know about AD. We'll put LeBron at 3, and I'll think about the rest of it. And we'll get back to. I need to sleep on the rest.
I mean, the top 3 though, I think that's perfect. You could argue whatever order the top 3 is, like blah,
just
blah,
if we're
blah.
talking right now, obviously, I don't think Durant has the rings quite yet. I think what has Durant got, 2?
Yeah, yep. 1 Finals
So
MVP.
He needs 1 more ring.
Literally on probably the most stacked team of all time, but sure.
Because he also won the head-to-head.
Oh my God.
Against LeBron. Remember when he drained that 3 in LeBron's? See, that's why I feel
on
like
the left side, it would have been the left side of the court.
Let's talk about the fact that Brooklyn's going to have KD, who's a closer, and Kyrie, who's a closer.
Okay, first of all, neither of those players are healthy ever. Well, Kyrie, mainly.
Yeah,
but
Kyrie.
Like that's the problem. Is I'm a big Kyrie guy. I love Uncle Drew. He went to Duke. I'm a big fan. I'm a Duke fan. I love Kyrie. I love Kevin Durant. A whole month older than I am, and the guy is literally making 1,000 trillion times what I will in a day. Like, I love him, but there is no way. Kyrie's not even the best point guard that plays his position. Not even close. I can think of. Well, I guess Chris Paul isn't Chris Paul, but
no, I wouldn't say Chris Paul. Hold on.
I would say Westbrook.
Who are you? Start listing some point guards and let's
Westbrook
see what you got. As the number 1 point guard.
Well, no. I didn't say in an order. Stop trying to throw me under the bus on our podcast. All right.
No. I'm just making sure. Because sometimes people say some crazy stuff about Westbrook, so I just got to make sure.
Okay. Oh my God. You know what? I'll go ahead and throw the Westbrook thing out there. If you want to underrate the guy who has averaged a triple-double for, 3 seasons? 2? 3.
We're going to get into how important that stat actually is and whether it's an overrated stat or not.
Oh, it's a completely irrelevant stat, right? I think so.
So the only thing, I give massive credit for him being able to do that. Obviously, it takes a tremendous amount of effort, and you have to really want to win so bad to do that, on a consistent basis. The caveat, because he expends so much energy throughout the course of the game, he's pumped to take the last shot. He's totally ready, but I think sometimes he's I don't want to say out of gas because he's in great shape, obviously, and but he's been literally expending his 100% all game long, and it's towards the end of the game sometimes he can not make the play. So I just don't quite see the absolute clutchness. He is willing and ready to take the last shot, but I don't quite see the actual shot going in as often as it should or could.
Well, I mean, I think statistics might back you up there too. I'm not sure that Westbrook is really that great of a shooter, so you're not wrong. But of course, you got
kind of big to me.
So what
So,
about Stephen Curry versus
so yeah, obviously
Kyrie,
you're right. So obviously
right?
Steph is number one. He's got more rings, anyways.
Hmm. All right, you and your fucking rings argument. Here,
Well, because they're both so great. Like Kyrie. Now, the only thing about Kyrie was that it was arguable whether he was the best player on that team. In my opinion, he was the
he's
most
not.
clutch player on that team.
Jesus, no. Oh my God.
Because like yeah, on clutchness level, like he's the one that sunk. Oh man, Kyrie. So
Do you
that
not
three is
remember when
just gorgeous.
LeBron blocked fucking Draymond Green, and you want to go ahead like no, Kyrie's not blocking a
I
damn
remember
shot.
when
Oh my
LeBron
lord.
got blocked by the Clippers when he was trying to take that last second shot. It was in the
Oh
middle
my
of the season
god.
before the lockdown, and Patrick Beverly blocked him.
I would take
And
a bullet for you in real life, but we're starting to we're really starting to push some of the boundaries here. And like bringing up other point guards, obviously. I mean, Chris Paul is another big name that gets brought up. Where would you put him with Kyrie?
behind Kyrie for sure.
I
Not
think
even close. Does Chris
now,
Paul even have a ring yet? He
I
doesn't
don't
even have
think
a
he's
ring. Chris
ever.
Paul's never. I don't see it.
Last year was the last year he made the Western Conference Finals. I think in his career. I
Yeah,
don't.
and they didn't win it.
I don't. Well, they would have, in their credit, if what's his name doesn't get hurt or whatever. But because they're like I like Chris Paul. I liked
Oh,
him when he
KD.
was what's that?
You're saying KD if KD didn't get hurt?
No, God, who got hurt last year for the Rockets in that playoff series, and they could have won? Oh, Chris Paul. Yeah, it was Chris Paul that got hurt. He didn't even get the playoff. You gotta actually attribute injuries and talk about stuff like
Right.
that. But when it comes to other point guards, like I mean, what about Ja Morant, for example? Just I mean, God, he's been stellar. I don't
No,
know if you've
stop
watched.
it. Yes, he's been stellar. That doesn't negate Kyrie's accomplishments. You have to give Kyrie like a certain
Kyrie's
amount of credit
accomplishments.
because of what he's accomplished.
No, what he's accomplished? You mean when LeBron carried him to shoot that shot?
No, I don't see that as LeBron carrying him. I saw that
Uh,
as LeBron, per usual, ditching up the last second shot, but luckily having Kyrie, who was ready and willing to sink it, and then think that it
fair.
was him that was the bad man all along. And he was a very, very, very bad man, and he was the closer. I give him credit for that, but he wasn't the best player on that team, nor was he the leader of that team. And that's not what Kyrie's not the leader necessarily,
True.
but he is the closer, and you got to give him credit for that.
I mean, I give Kyrie credit because obviously, like you have stated, I mean, he drilled that three in Curry's face. Like, no problem. I mean, we saw him in the All Star game, I think that season too. Just like, or the season prior? Maybe 2 seasons prior. Like, waving Brandon Ingram on or something. Or not Ingram, but Brandon Knight on and like, oh, yeah, yeah, come get me. And he's just drilling threes. I love Kyrie. Nothing against him. But I think he's the third best point guard.
Behind Westbrook?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not if you're talking about
Like I said, people
pure
get
point
super
guards.
on the crazy.
Oh my.
No,
Lord.
I hate that term pure point guard. That's silly talk. If everyone plays like different positions in different ways, like a point guard, for example, is whoever is playing the one on the roster. And if they're the type of person that doesn't dribble the ball all the time, then that's fine. They're still the point guard. Like whoever is, they're probably calling the plays still. So to me, I don't know. If a point guard is a scoring first point guard, that's a different way of playing point guard. There's no true point guard, non-true point guard, in my opinion. Like, in my opinion, the best true point guard is someone that scores when you need to score. And the fact of the matter is sometimes because people will assume, for example, that the point guard is just going to dribble down and try and distribute the ball. If he drives it to the hole and just completely catches the other team by surprise, that's effective. You get some scores that way. Like, the biggest thing about playing basketball in general is being able to adapt. You have to be able to take the buckets when they give them to you. You have to be able to do certain things when they're not expecting you to. You got to drill the open three. There's a lot that goes into that, and so being a scorer is an integral part of being a point guard.
I think you
efficient
obviously
scorer.
need to, score points as a point guard. But, I mean, I think I would rather have a pass. That actually brings up a really good point. I was thinking about this before the podcast, and I was going to bug you about it. I won't put you on the spot about it now. But a friend of mine the other day asked me, who's like, oh, well, what's your starting five, like all-time NBA? And of course, like, I named my starting five or whatever. Of course, you're gonna have Jordan and shit like that. But I was like, I think Nash would be my starting point guard.
Yeah, we're
And
right on the money right there so far.
and he had asked why, and I was just like, well, not only could Nash pass, I mean, probably one of the most prolific passers of all time, top five, I think, top three, of all time. But the guy could fucking shoot. 50, 40, 90 club. Uh, one of the only, I think there's 8 members, and he did it twice. Like, that kind of stuff to me, the intangibles, and maybe that's not intangible, obviously, but when it comes to that kind of thing, like, I feel like a scoring point guard isn't something I would want until obviously I need points. Like, how do you kind of feel about that? Like,
I think you take the best point guard that you can get, and if they're a scoring point guard, then you say we have a scoring point guard, and let's get a shooting guard that doesn't need to have the ball, 24/7. You pick out the rest of the team accordingly, and like certain players complement other types of players well. For example, you put LeBron around some shooters, that always works well. Whereas like LeBron and Rondo was almost kind of weird because when LeBron's going to kick it to Rondo, who's going to shoot it?
yeah, Rondo can't hit some like broadside
So
of Barnes, so that's fair.
yeah, so and there was a time where Rondo too was considered one of the greats, but he obviously got hurt and is having unable to really produce this season. So,
True.
but yeah, I think that you got to take the best point guard that you can get because that's just such an important position, and then you kind of just make your way from there. In terms of yeah, I actually agree with you. I like Nash and I like Jordan. And I have a hard time picking like Wilt because it sounds like from everything that you hear is Wilt, but you never really saw Wilt play. So I just want to pick people that I've been able to like watch play. And so if we do that, then I'm talking, it's got to be Nash, Jordan, LeBron at the 3, Duncan at the 4, and Diesel at the 5, and Wade as the 6 man.
See, and it's so awesome when you bring that up is because like Shaq to me is my center. Like there's no hesitation. And like everyone's like, oh my god, what about Will? Blah blah blah. Cool, but I'm
The stats
30
definitely
and not
show that
70,
Will
so well. And I mean,
that
not
it's Will.
that
But like I always say, stats are overrated.
exactly.
And I couldn't watch those games, so it's not like
Well, and if you read anything about Will, like as a person, in the NBA, like he wanted to lead the league in assists, so he just refused to shoot. What? Like, in what fucking kindergarten place do you think that can fly as an NBA player? Now, granted, times were different and things could fly and so on and so forth. But if you did that now and you're like, oh, I'm gonna lead the league in assists, like no matter if you pass, like if you pass it to me, I'm
right.
not
Even if
shooting.
I've got enough open shots to like score 40 and we win the game handily.
Like I'm
Like even
choke
if it
slamming
means
that
passing up a
motherfucker.
good opportunity. And that's what I'm saying is like, why do you? So you don't need a pass first point guard. You need a point guard that's going to make a good play. And if passing first is the right play 70% of the time, then he happens to pass first. It depends on who's on your team. Who are
That's a
you
really
going to
good
pass
point.
to? You know what I mean? Like I want Russell taking the ball if his supporting cast is the Knicks.
Actually, a supporting cast. Yeah,
Then I
as
want
opposed to a
Russell
limp.
taking 90% of my shots
Yeah,
if he was on the Knicks.
exactly.
But if he's on the Lakers, then I want him taking about 30% of the shots max.
All right, so we're about 45 minutes into this. We'll go ahead and wrap this up here. I got to put you on the spot here, man. I love you to death, but I got to do it. Who's winning the NBA Finals, and I need to know why.
Clippers, I just think they're all around better, mentally tougher team. I think they're going to be the one that makes it out of the West, and I think whoever makes it out of the West is winning the championship.
I agree.
I don't trust my original pick. I feel bad too. I feel like I'm kind of hedging my bets because it's going to be like on one hand, if the Lakers win, I'll be able to be like, oh, I called it before the season, but I'll know in the back of my head, hey, you also genuinely, after watching the season, thought that the Clippers were going to win, so you're actually not that smart.
I mean, shit. Fair, fair, fair. I mean, I'm gonna go with the Lakers probably winning it all.
Wow, I thought you said Milwaukee.
Well, I have the Bucks going. I just don't think that they'll win it all. I think LeBron right now at his age and what he's dealing with, I really feel like that they'll probably win it all versus Milwaukee. Now, that being said, I've got no issue being absolutely wrong here. There's no horse in the race for me. Um, it's just the eye test, and I think that Giannis is probably good enough to do it on his own. But yeah, I don't know if he's better than LeBron. And God, there's a lot of debates there. But I don't know. I gotta go Lakers. I gotta go. My gut tells me Lakers, and I know I'm wrong.
Yeah, we
But
might have to do a top five because I'm not sure if he's in the top five. He might be in the top five.
oh my God. Again, I love you. I'd take a bullet for you, but we're really testing that right now.
Well, we're gonna see next year too when when KD comes back.
Okay, yeah, I'm a big KD fan. You gotta understand. I'm a big KD fan. I'm a big KD lover. He's a beast. I mean, Portland fucked up, LOL. But he's not in the league right now because Although that's another thing. We were getting ready to wrap this up.
But
But
then,
that's
do you
another
think
thing.
AD or Paul George or I mean
Oh
not
no,
AD?
no, neither. It's just the top three is what it's got to be in no particular order: KD, LeBron, Kawhi, and then Steph. And who gives a shit? Like, well, that's
I
it.
was going AD over
Over.
Giannis personally.
Oh my God. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Um,
All right.
no way. No, no, no. All right, no. Oh my
We'll
lord.
we'll we'll sleep on it. We'll sleep on it. We'll do an official one.
There's no way. All right, guys.
I'll go. I'll look at more stats. I'll double check myself. We'll see. I might lock it back.
To
I
your
might lock
credit,
it back in the morning.
to your credit, statistics can lie. So, but at the same time, what? No,
I just can't get that meltdown out of my mind. I think that's what it is, honestly.
I would agree. That's 100% what it is. I mean, damn. All right, well, all right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Thanks for listening to us on the Dashcast here. Make sure you visit Brandon over there at youtube.com/. I know it's not Brandon Colongo.
It sure is. Yeah, you can find me on every platform. Brandon Colongo. Basically, TikTok. We launched a TikTok. Definitely comment too if you want us to do some like little TikTok hot takes. I think that would be kind of fun.
Yeah, anything that you guys have in your mind that you would like us to talk about, or any
Topics.
suggestions, things like that, that'd be super awesome.
All that good
Thank
stuff.
you for listening. We both highly appreciate it. We love doing these casts, but we love you guys listening to this, and we really hope that you'll tune in for the next episode.
Thanks
You guys
for watching. Smash the like button. Leave nice comments. Subscribe. Hit the notification
and
bell.
go Pack Go. And if you want to bury anybody, bury Brandon. Thanks for listening, guys.